What's up, everyone? All right, well, I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. In today's episode, I'm going to give you my watch list for Monday morning and the game plan for the week ahead. If you've been tuning into the daily recaps, which I upload every day, whether it's a red day or a green day, you will know that this month has not gotten off to the start that I was hoping for. August 1st, Friday, I lost $44,000, and I spent all of last week working to recover that loss, but in a market where it was much colder. There was not as much momentum. So I wasn't able to hit those $50,000, $75,000, or $100,000 or even $200,000 green days that I was getting during June and July, which meant all of last week I made about $50,000. So now I'm green on the month, but not by much. So how do I approach coming into this new week? It'll be the second full week of August. Well, I think we'll have to acknowledge that APL, Pineapple Financial, was one of our leading gainers on Friday, up 71%. It popped up early in the morning, which is when I traded it right through here. It then pulled back, but it rallied up into the close. Is this something I would watch into Monday? To be honest, not really. It has descending resistance right here. So even if it popped up a little bit more, it's going to hit that level. Short of having some really strong catalyst, I don't think it's going to be worth considering. So this one's probably out of the running. HTCO, we sometimes have stocks that appear on the scans because they are a reverse split, and that's what this is. Now, if we look at the ratio of the split, it's a 25-to-1 split, and the current float prior to the split was 30 million shares, which means it's going to be down to about a 1 million share float stock. This is a stock that we could keep on a side chart in the event that it starts to pop up. It's very common that following a reverse split, these companies will put out breaking news to try to get their stock price up a little bit. Now, it has a gap here, a window from 945 all the way up to the top of this candle, which is $35 a share. Okay, so it's an industrials company, transportation. It's not biotech. I don't know that this is going to be a stock that really is going to give us much in the coming weeks, but we just took a look at it. We know it's a reverse split, so just wanted to keep in the back of our minds. Second leading gapper, ZBAI, same situation, reverse split. This is a stock that is finance, so that's the sector. It's a Chinese company as well. A little bit of a history of selling off. This one makes me a bit skeptical, and the daily chart doesn't really look all that exciting. It's an 18-to-1 reverse split. Now, I could double check the filings on this real quick. So it was ZBAI. So this is a filing from back there. So interesting. So it had 17 million shares as of June 6th. And they just did a split of 18-to-1. So this will have a very low float after the split, but it would need some kind of news. So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and mark these down. I'm going to start kind of, building, let's see, a little bit of a watch list. I'll put my, I'm going to put my whiteboard camera up here. Let's see. It's going to take a second for, there it goes. So, oops, sorry. So let's see. So we're going to have, just powering up that camera, ZBAI, recent reverse split. And then we had HTCO, which is the same. So those are possibilities, just to keep on sort of a side chart. Devs, DEVS, also a reverse split. A lot of reverse splits on Friday, which is interesting, and there'll be a fourth one too. This is a stock, 15 million share float, and the split was 10-to-1, so it'll be 1.5 million shares. I don't like this candle here because it shows it fairly recently popped up and sold off. So I feel like that's probably not going to work, but just something to consider maybe. And then EVTV, this one, let's see, the split was 10-to-1, so it'll be a 1.4 million share float. I mean, if it got over $4, it's then, this one's a little bit more interesting. It's sort of a turnaround story. Consumer discretionary vehicles, envirotech vehicles, I don't know. I'm not sure if we're in the right market for that sector and that type of company. But nonetheless, we've got 4 recent reverse splits. Now, one of the scans I also like to use is the recent reverse split scan right here. So this is going to be giving me a list of a lot of these same stocks, but there's more on here as well. And I just checked the dates of some of them. So FLGC, oops, I got to link up my chart. FLGC, this was a split on August 4th. Very low flow as you can see, but still $18 a share. Probably going to be too expensive. XAIR, reverse split was back on the 714. MKZR. All right, well, I don't love that candle that's right there. It's so close by that I'd be worried about bag holders from that day. BDRX, 731. Already looked at that one. OST, a little too cheap, you know, so it's Goldilocks syndrome here. It's too expensive, it's too cheap, but, you know, when you find just the right one, that's when you can get some nice moves. TWG, low float, beating up on the daily, needs a news catalyst, Hong Kong company. Let's see. ACXP, it's been beaten up, could be a turnaround story. Biotech, US company. So if it comes out with some good biotech news, I would keep that one on watch. So ACXP, US biotech reverse split. And then this one I think we'll just follow up with those two. I think that ZBAI was Chinese, was it not? Yeah, so that one's Chinese, CN, finance, and then HTCO was Singapore, SG. Okay, all right, so just mark those down. All right, so then SLXN, SEAT, SEAT. This sometimes happens. This chart shows a gap down. I think it's not correctly adjusting for the split. I'd have to look into it just to confirm that, but it's at $16 a share in any case. And then, yeah, that was the, oh, and BINI. Well, this one's Bollinger Innovations, which is formerly Mullen, MULN. So that one's going to be no good. So no trades on that one. This one, every time it pops up, it just manages to go lower. It's kind of insane. All right, so those are a couple of recent reverse split stocks. Just putting on, you know, sometimes I'll build a little bit of a bigger watch list, and then I just have a few others that I can just double check during the week. Continuation scanner, CELC, too expensive. BTAI, I'm not really that big of a fan of it. It's got a topping tail on the daily. I feel like it needs to pull back for a while. ZEP, too expensive. IMAB, floats too high. AACG, a little cheap. I don't know. PHLT, floats too high. Newegg, a little too expensive at 80 bucks. YMAB, floats too high. Actually, I think that one's a buyout. Yeah, that's why it's trading sideways. SHOT, no. Skipping down to CMCT. I mean, if it could break over 10, but it was hard to trade the other day. Checking just some of the lower float ones, but these don't look that interesting. LICN, this one was on the watch list last week. Had one day it popped up, but not with enough volume to really squeeze. EMPD, this was formerly VLCN. Kind of interesting here if it broke out. I don't know if it will. BNC, this is vape, name change, selling off. I don't think there's going to be anything there. SNCE, or SNSE actually, just popped up on Friday, then pulled back. So now let's check recent, we got recent reverse split, we got the continuation scanner. Let's just check after hours top gainers, see if there's anything in here from Friday. AUUD, lower float, certainly. I would put that on the list. AUUD, it's a US company. It's not been the easiest one to trade, but it does have a low float, so if it caught a bid, that could work. SMX popped up on Friday, pulled back, recent reverse split, right? So you get that recent reverse split, then the pop, but I don't think there was any news on it, which is why it didn't go up more. All right, so only one to add from that scan. Now let's check the recent IPO top moving scan. So recent IPO top moving, obviously Figma, but it's too expensive. SI, pulling back. See, this is kind of a bummer. We had Fly IPO last week. That one's pulling back. Just doesn't, none of these really look that good. And it's funny because the overall market, yes, it pulled back, but it's been rallying back up. So, you know, at this point, I mean, clearly there's a lot less enthusiasm in the market than there was a couple weeks ago. I don't know, August, traders are just taking the month off or what the deal is, but we are not seeing the level of volatility that we had previously seen. So while I have 4 stocks here that are going to be just, worth keeping an eye on, I think most importantly, we'll be watching the top gainer scanner in the morning. So Monday morning, we'll be looking at this scan, and we'll be scrolling back on the high day Momo scanner to see, what kind of momentum have we got in between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. I'm going to sit down at 7 a.m. as always. And those of you guys who haven't already done a 2-week trial, I'll put the link for the 2-week trial, top of the comments. It'll be pinned there so you can check it out. And you'll learn a lot. I mean, this is right now a time for being patient, not overstaying your welcome, not over trading, being a bit of a sniper, waiting patiently and then jumping in and jumping out, get in, get green and get out. It's got to be that way right now until we start to see some of these really holding up and I start, putting down some bigger green days. So I would encourage you, get out your sticky notes, make some little reminders, put them in front of your P&L so you look at it before you start trading. Colder market, reduce share size. I did that episode on Friday where I talked about the importance of scaling back on share size right now, scaling back on the total number of trades you're taking, and just, stepping back a little bit. This is not the time to take a ton of risk. There will be weeks and months, again, in the future, I have no doubt about it, where I'll feel comfortable taking multi-million-dollar positions and I'll be locking up 6 figures a day. That's not the market we're in right now. So you've got a choice. You can either be stubborn and trade the way you want to trade regardless of market conditions, and you'll make good money when the market's hot and you'll lose quite a bit of money when the market's cold. Or you can submit to the market and you can recognize that when it's cold like this, I've got to scale back because otherwise I'm just burning money, taking unnecessary losses. Now, this is the tricky thing with trying to time the market. There are some people who say you can't time the market, so just always be in the market. And some people, even on my YouTube videos, will say, Ross, I don't understand, why don't you just take the same position size on every trade you take, whether it's dollar amount, probably dollar amount, and share size would be a little bit because I trade different price stocks. But what if I just take a $100,000 position on every trade I take? Would it kind of like normalize things a little bit where I might not have that random outlier loss? And while that is true, think about it this way. You're taking a $100,000 position every single trade, every single day, no matter what. In a crazy hot market, wouldn't you feel like you're kind of selling yourself short by not being more aggressive? And in a really cold market, you might feel that it's not even worth taking that much risk. So to me, to really essentially extract as much profit from the market, you've got to be able to sort of throttle up when it's hot and then back down when it's cold. But that means having that timing, right? And having that kind of mental connection and emotional connection with what are other traders thinking right now, what's the condition of the market, and don't get caught up with trading your P&L and how much you want to make today. Focus on trading what the market is giving you today. And that's what I'll be doing this week. So thank you guys as always for tuning in. Reminder, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk. Practice this simulator before you put real money on the line. And I'll see you streaming bright and early tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.